Hey everybody, it's Doom here from Dungeons and Doom Biscuit, and I just finished up with the Giant Eagle, and I want to start in the 3.5 Monster Manual again, and now we're going to work on the Eladrin. There are two basic types of Eladrin. One is the Bralani, which is this dude. They're like a deserty kind of people that use a scimitar and a short bow, and then you have the Gale, and the Gale use a +4 Holy Greatsword. His scimitar is holy too, but they're essentially knights that serve celestial lords in the heavens, and they do roam the cosmos doing good deeds and helping good guys. So it would be possible that your adventurers would run across one if they were doing bad or if they were doing really good. So I have a couple hero clicks I thought we could do. We could do one for the Gale, or we could do one for the Bralani. And I think what I wanted to do is the Bralani, because let's be honest, a lot of these hero clicks women's faces are super derpy for some reason, and even though the men's might be a little derpy at times, they're at least proportioned similar to that of a male. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this homeboy off his base, and let's see what we can do with him. So what I'm using is a pair of flat end snippers, and I'm just going to cut his feet off, right off there. There we go. Oh. There we go. And we're going to take that sword off too, because obviously that doesn't look much of a holy scimitar. But we're going to leave the rest of this part here. Oh, I just cut off part of my finger there. That's alright. I didn't like it anyways. Okay. So we've cut that off. And we can make a blade out of this piece of comb. Or actually, you know what? If you have something like this, an empty cotton swab box, or Q-tip box, or whatever you want to call it, a little piece of this could, in theory, end up being a pretty sick blade, I'm thinking. So let's get a rough scimitar shape going. Now that is way big. We all know that. But there's a reason I made it that big. Because I'm bad at my job. Well, this isn't my job, but... Okay. That is probably closer to the size we want. So let's get that set over here where I can find it again. And I won't be able to when I want it. And get a dab of glue. On that hand. Alright, so what I'm fixing to do is smear the bottom of this blade around on that glue, get it on both sides. I'm going to dip it in this baking soda. I'm going to bring it back and attach it. And I'm going to drop it and try again. Alright, mistakes were made. Now we're going to get his hand and dip it in there. Let's see if we can get it to stick that way. Nope. Alright. I'm going to get his hand in there. Knock off the excess. Get the super glue. Get the blade. We're going to get the blade in place exactly how we want it. Or close enough to how we want it. Now there's a lot of pressure on me because there are people are watching. I do this kind of dumb shit on my own. I don't worry about how long it takes, you know. I put it backwards. Well, of course I did. Okay. Now let's get a toothpick. Get any excess glue we have. And let's get a little bit on the blade. Just strengthen that up some. Okay. So let's start thinking about bases. Sweat. This is one of those little bases that come with something. I think it's a Knoll's ears or something. We can use that. So let's get a base. Tab of glue. Stick that right on there. Pop. Get a little super glue on there. Get a toothpick. Smear that out so it looks like sand. Okay, set that off to the side. Let's get him on there. I'm going to brush this off with a toothbrush real quick. Get any of that extra sand that we don't want. And his feet should be pretty flat since we used that snipper thing, right? Let's get him on there. And we'll let him sit. I was going to say let's let him sit for a moment, but he didn't want to. Alright, stay there, buddy. Alright, so if we look at the reference art for the Bralani guys, he's got some extra stuff going on that we don't have on ours. We could add some material type parts to him if we wanted to. We could add a loincloth to him pretty easy or something like that, but I don't know if we really need to. I think what we can do is we can cut a little piece of this fabric and just kind of so wrap it around him in such a way something like that. That's what I am thinking. So to get that started, we're just going to get a dab of glue on his belly button area here on his belt. And we're going to pull this tight and stick it there. Okay? And then we're going to get another dab right back here on his side. We're going to pull that around, pull it tight, and get that to hook up too. Okay? And we're going to do a little bit more here. And we're just putting the tiniest bit of glue. Make sure you push that down. You want that smooth underneath there. We're going to pull that around and get that in place. Now we have some excess here that would have been much easier to cut off in pre-production, but we didn't. So now what we're going to have to do is make that work. All right. We're just going to get a tiny dab there and drag that down. Okay. And get that kind of rubbed into place and let it dry a little bit. Get any of the excess glue, rub it into the fabric, let it kind of disappear. And then let's get some glue. Okay. You're just getting enough to let it soak in there and dirty that up. So it's not soft like fabric anymore. It's hard like miniature. Okay. Something like that. Then if we want to put a little piece over his shoulder, we can too. So it's more like a, I don't know what you call that. Like a thing that goes over the shoulder. So we're just going to cut a really thin strip. Oops. I can't even get that. I'm so clumsy. There we go. Just a thin strip. We're just going to put a little dab here. Drag that down. And we're going to drag it across his back slowly. Make sure we're not twisting it or anything. We'll put a little dab on his shoulder. And then we're going to connect it down here. And that's going to be hanging off a tiny bit. Let's put that right over the side of his butt crack there. Okay. Something like that. Okay. There's going to be a little bit of excess glue, and what we're just going to do with that is just smooth that in. And then we want this piece to be sticking out, right? Not in. We want it to be waving out. So let's get it kind of going that way, like that. And then we'll just do the same thing with the super glue. We don't want this to be soft like cloth. We want it to be tough like a mini. And this is also going to bond it to him really well. Now before that dries, make sure you get up under there and puff that out the way you want it to be puffed out. Or when it dries, it'll be stuck. Okay? So this is going to be our Bralani. And now we're going to figure out how to paint him. So browns and blues might be wise and look good on him. Is his sword bent a little bit? It is. Look at that. It bent a little bit from that glue. Should have used thicker plastic. Oh well. So to fix that, we'll just heat it up. Kind of bend it how we want it. All right. I think the last thing he really needs is a little stone on his base. So let's get a couple little rocks. Put one in front there, maybe two. Two it is. One on the back side here. Something like that. And just like that, we had a hero click. And now we, lost it. Now we have an Eladrin. Oops, too much glue. We're going to steal some of that glue. Really cheapy set of forceps. We're going to drop that in that glue. Whoops. I'm going to come back here and set it back here. Or not. Oh, where'd it go? Okay. Having all kind of problems. Alright. Now we don't need a dab of glue because I didn't get enough from that front part. Now, I had a surface tension bubble, and you'll know what I'm talking about if you get one. All right. Now let's get him, let's heat him up. Let's put our tools away. I'd like to thank everybody for watching. This was, I didn't have this exact miniature. I don't know if they actually make this miniature. I'm going to throw my HeroClix away. In the HeroClix box. Well, I have a couple HeroClix boxes, but they're kind of sorted a certain way. Anyways, I'd like to thank you guys for watching. I know there's a lot of YouTube channels. I didn't have the official miniature for this, so I decided to make one out of a HeroClix. I don't know if there is an official miniature for this, honestly. So, if there is, that's cool. I don't have it, or I don't use it as that. Sometimes I have stuff that I don't realize what it is. On the bottom of the base, it'll say, oh, this is this. And I'll have been using it for the wrong thing, or using it as a hero or something like that forever and just never even realize it. I have a terrible habit of that. Just like the Lemure demons that I made. I didn't even know I owned Lemure demons. And by the time it's all said and done, I own 7 different ones. Well, 3 of them are the same, but 4 different models besides that. So 5 models, I think. 4 models, but 3 of one model. Anyways, and you know, Mrs. Doom caught that. I didn't even realize it. I used them as poop monsters because they were so bad. So let's hit him with a clear, not clear coat, a flat black. I got a rattle can here. So I hold my rattle cans pretty far back when I do this. I don't know how far you go. I go about 14 inches or more back. And that blade just melted. Badly, too. Alright, we're going to need to make a new blade for our sword because that one melted. It's hard as a rock now. Okay, we'll snip it right off there. We'll make a new one. We'll add it at the end when we're done. No problem. No problem at all. There we go. Alright. Let's set him in front of the fan and look for a new scimitar blade. We can use cardstock, that's pretty sturdy. Or I have a coffee can lid here. We can use, this is sturdy, we'll use that. Coffee can lid it is. And we'll have a new blade made in no time. Ta-da! New blade. No drama. We'll set that over here so we don't lose it on that. Alright. Let's see our homeboy here. He should be pretty cooled down. Yeah, he's pretty cooled down. Alright, let's get some cardboard and some white paint. And a makeup brush. This is a cheapy Dollar Tree makeup brush. If you were watching me make the eagle, it's the same one I was using there. It's a little bit wet still, which is not good for what we're doing. But we want to wipe, oh, smeared the black white again. We want to kind of look for textures. And on the higher parts, we definitely want to lighten them up more. And on the lower parts, it's not as crucial. So we'll come through and hit him with one coat, and then we'll dry him off with hot air. let's take a look at him and see what we can do. We're going to lighten him up more before we can paint him, but we will have to cool him off some because that is so hot, that hair dryer. So sitting in front of the fan for a moment, and let's look at the picture. All right, so he's going to have white hair, tan skin, browns, and maybe those reds with some. And I'd like to put some blue on him too. Let's see if he's cooled down at all. Yeah, he's cooled down pretty good. Let's get that brush again. Wipe a lot of that white off, and let's come back and see if we can't hit some of that skin up and get some of that texture in his hair and neck and stuff. There we go. Something like that. Okay. We can get a skin. Oh, neighbor kids are getting in trouble again. A lot of yelling. All right. Now we can see what we're working with here. We know his hair is going to be white, so we can immediately get our white paint and a brush and start on that. Nope, got some on his shoulder accidentally. It'd be alright. Okay. Alright, that's going to be white, but we're going to actually put some white speed paint on there and darken that up in the end of this part. Let's do his skin. So for his skin, I'm just going to get some of this tape here. I use tape because this masking tape is resistant to, it doesn't seep well. So if you put speed paints or really mini paints that you don't want to dry out by putting on cardboard or anything like that, and if you put it on this tape, it kind of works out for you. So I'm getting a really small brush here. And this is the Army Painter starter brush. And I'm just going to hit his flesh. Now we lost a lot of detail because I used too much spray. And that was my fault, but that's okay. We're going to make up for it with enthusiasm. We lost some detail from that super glue on his hand too, unfortunately. Not like he was a high detail model to begin with, but damn. And you might be saying, but Doom, some of the gray's coming through. That's okay, man. We're going to come back and dry brush this with a more flesh tone later to make it look a little more realistic and better anyways. We're just using this to get into the darker recesses with flesh tone and try to give him a cool look. Now, this back here is not going to be flesh tone because he's got some kind of like scale armor of some sort there. We got a decent start. We know what we're about. Let's get in that Those recesses a little better. Okay. All right. Now, his clothes need to be some kind of brown. And what I wanted to do, let me get my speed painter brush I use. This is my Army Painter regiment brush, and this is like my hardcore workhorse brush. I use this for like everything. And this is called Hardened Leather. And I'm going to see if we can do the undergarment stuff with that. And make that look okay. Oh shit. Wrong paint, no problem. Just get that out of there and grab the right kind. We'll do his legs with this too, his feet. Nice. It meets the Doom Hasty Work seal of approval. It's got that 3-part HeroClick paint job. All right. Now, I wanted to lighten that up a little bit for the robes. So what I'm doing here is getting a little bit of the sand golem. And first I'm going to see what the sand golem looks like by itself on those robes. But I have a feeling it's going to look actually not bad. Okay. It's not bad at all. I was worried it was going to look too dark, but I'm not unhappy with it. Now, we don't want to hit that piece that's sticking out too much. Might as well. I was going to do something else with that, but we don't have to. Now there's no blue on him like I had wanted. Not a damn bit. So, we gotta fix that. Okay, nice. We're gonna get a dab of glue. And this little blue gem thing. I'm going to put it right there on his belly. It doesn't even look like it goes there. I love it. We're going to get another one of those and put it on his shoulder too. Hell with it. My model, we'll do what I want. These little gem bead things. Okay, so my wife does these gem paintings. My mom does them too. And they're essentially like these, like you just get these different colors, these little beads. And somehow they affix to a, I don't know what it is, so the thing you're working on. Like a painting of some sort. I don't know what they're really called right now off the top of my head. But they're like gem paintings. Alright. Sick. Let's get some wipage going here so there's no moisture. And let's come back and start on his base, but let's hit him with some hot air first. Alright, so for the base I'm just getting this burnt umber. I was going to do it desert, but I don't think I'm going to like the way it's going to turn out. So I'm going to darken up his base and pretty much paint everything but those rocks with this. I'm just using my favorite cheapy brush I use for everything. Really love this brush. I just clean it out and use it over and over and over. Alright, I'm going to get a medium brown and mush it around in there some. This is called melted chocolate. I'm just going to dab some of that and steal it. And I'm going to give some variation to the dirt and stuff. Okay. I'm going to get some of this pavement. I'm gonna hit the rocks. All right. And I'm going to leave that alone for a while. I'm going to come back with some tape. In my regiment brush, which is, like I said, kind of like my work brush, or workhorse brush. And I'm going to get this, this is tanned flesh. Oh. Haven't used this for a while. And I'm going to get something to lighten it up with. And I'm going to be using this skeleton bone tan. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to get this and this. I'm going to get a little bit of a darker skin tone. Something nice. I'm going to wipe a lot of that off. Then I'm going to come by and hit the high spots. On the skin. And it came to this point because I just wasn't happy with how much we lightened up his stuff before the speed paint. So that's why we're actually coming over and doing flesh again. But we did get a layer in there with speed paint, and keep that in mind, so we're going to be alright. Everything's covered at least. We're going to come back with that same thing, and we're going to lighten it up with some more of that mummy robes. Make it a little bit lighter than that. We're not doing any kind of dry brushing yet. Okay, we're getting a little bit lighter. And then just hit the 3D spots a little better with it. Just lighten those up. There we go. Now there's obviously some kind of thing on his arm, some kind of guard thing there. I don't know what that is. And we could ignore that, but we're not gonna. So let's get him with the +2 hot air gun and burning. Let's start dealing with some of these things we got. So we have a yellow here that we were using earlier. We're just going to get that yellow from the last thing I was doing in this brown and this tan. We're going to make a color. And we're going to hit just a little bit of this stuff here where I think it's too dark. And that's going to brighten that right up. Nice. All right, then we're going to get our small brush. We're going to get this fur brown. I didn't have it mixed up good enough. Same fur brown right there. There we go. We're going to make a nice point on the end of our brush, and we're going to hit this armband thing here. Okay. Now he's got this whole thing on his sleeve over there. I'm getting this ultramarine blue. I'm going to use that. I'm not sure how mixed up that is. Not mixed up at all. Okay, we're not using that. That's okay. I got this Craft Smart Tropical or Apple Barrel Tropical Blue here. We're going to use that instead. So this has this weird, I don't know what the hell's going on with this. It's like a weird arm protector thing. And then there's some of that scale stuff back here that comes up onto his flesh that I didn't notice till I hit it with that little bit of lighter tan. So we're going to get that same blue. We're just going to bring that in to part of the paint job. Okay. There's a neck. Thing coming down onto his chest. We're just going to paint that blue too. Oh, it comes up from this thing back here. See that? Okay. Now these gems are pretty vibrant. I'm just going to touch the tops of those a little bit with this blue. Break that up. Alright, let's figure out his sword situation and his hair. Oh, there's one more thing I need to show you guys. On his forehead, there is a metal band. Let's take a look at that. This is called Greedy Gold. I use this a lot. Okay. And we can use that same gold to do some accent stuff. Like maybe we can do a thin line on his arm band. Just to make that look a little more blinged up. Something like that. We could do the sword handle of his holy scimitar with it. Knuckle guards and the side. Okay. And what else could we do with that? Okay, something like that. Now he's starting to look like what we want him to look like. This is by far not my best paint job ever. I will not even try to lie to you. It's not my worst either. Alright. The cursed white speed paint. Or whatever you call contrast paint. Do not like this stuff. I've used it like several times and it actually kind of looked like I wanted it to. And every other time it looked funky. But we're going to use that. We're going to let it dry. And then we're going to come back and dry brush it white. Now, let's do his sword blade while that's drying, while it's settling. We set a sword blade over here. Oh, and we lost it, of course. So let's get our glue. Just a dab. And let's talk about patience on this part. Let's get it on there, but let's take our time and make sure it sticks right. Okay. Something like that. Okay. Let's just let that sit. And then we'll come back to it. So what I'd like to do is it's a +2 holy longsword. So I'd like to try to capture that in some form. I don't know what that form will take. But we do need to have some more glue on this so that it's sturdy. So in order to do that, we're just going to get a drop on here to sturdy this up. And we're just going to get a toothpick. Don't get a dirty one, get a clean one. And run it down the length of the blade on the top and on the bottom. Make sure you get as much connective surface as you can. because you want it to be sturdy. Okay. Now we're going to hit it with the +2 hot air gun of burning. Get a little bit of fabric and just catch some of that extra glue so it doesn't bubble up. There we go. That should work. Let's deal with his hair. Let's come back to that white we had earlier and a cheapy brush. Real thin and nice. Wipe a little bit of it off. Then we want to just touch these spots real light. As you feel confident and you see you have less paint left on the brush, you can kind of dab it around and lighten it up, something like that. Then get a little bit more of that white, drier this time. Yeah. And then touch the areas that you really want to pop. There's a spot up here we need to hit a little better. Nice. Okay. So you might think to yourself, that's just a hero click. Yeah, it is. It is just a hero click. So we're going to need to lighten up that base, the stones on that base a little bit before we even think about flocking it. Let's get a dab of gray here. That's way too much. We could have taken it right out of the top of the lid of the tube. Well, my brush is soaking wet, no wonder. All right, let's try that again. I'm just going to brush along the tops of those, lighten those up. It's that fantasy realism I always lie about. And then for the blade of this sword, let's think that that glue should be dry. Mostly dry. So let's just get some water and dry it out all the way. And I just ruined my favorite brush. Not thinking, being in a hurry. And I got super glue all in it. I don't know if we can get the super glue out of my favorite brush, but we can try. I doubt we can. It's probably a loss. Wow, all the years I've had this brush, I don't even remember where I got it. I mean, I've had this thing for like ever too. All right. Nope. All right, well, it happens. So let's get some fabric and wipe that blade off and make sure it's all dry. we go. It's a +2 holy, or a +1 holy scimitar according to the story, so let's get some gold. And my brush. That is no good anymore. And paint it gold. Remember, that scimitar is just a piece of coffee lid. The plastic from the top of coffee lid. Man, I love that brush too. I have more of those somewhere. I gotta figure out where. Because I have like a bunch of old brushes. There's gotta be more of those, because that is my favorite brush. Alright, so we're gonna hit him with +2 hot air gun burning and dry that sword out. And then we're gonna hit it with a speed paint of yellow. Oh shit. Too much heat, bros. No problem. Alright, we're not going to hit it with a speed paint. We're going to let that dry. I'm going to put a dab of super on that to toughen it up. Thought we had it good and solid. Did not. Alright, so we're not going to add any more paint to that sword. We're going to leave that sword how it is. Okay. Alright. So that's our going to be finished. I'm going to flock his base a little bit. I'm just getting some clear Elmer's glue. Man, I'm sorry. I'm really shook up about messing up my brush. It's got me all flustered. Like, I just wasn't even paying attention. I was rushing. I was looking at the time, and I don't like my crafts to take so long. I'm going out of town tomorrow. I want to hang out with my homies. That's my sons. Like, I had just to be patient and take my time, and I'd have been okay. Now I'm all frustrated. Okay. Where is that flock? I have lost my flock. No. There we go. Alright. Normally I would go around his base with black and make him also something that you could use as a playable character. But in this situation, because I've already spent a lot of time on this mini and I've had a lot of problems, we're going to call it there. So I'm going to hit him with a clear coat when he dries, take him upstairs, put him on the turntable and talk about how you would run an Eladrin. Specifically, this is the Bralani one, but this is, yeah. So thanks for watching. If you like what we did here, this one was a terrible example of how it normally goes, I think, but if you like what we did here, hit like, subscribe, share, comment, notification, bell icon. Check out the website, maybe buy some minis, join our Discord, show us what you're working on, play some video games with us, and hang out. And thank you guys so much for hanging out with me today. I know there's a lot of options out there, and I appreciate that you chose me. Thanks for watching.